When you look at the playoff race in the Western Conference right now, there is a pretty clear hierarchy of teams. The Warriors and the Suns sit atop the conference, battling for the 1 seed. The Grizzlies and the Jazz are up next, battling for the 3 seed, and then everybody else is down below them. However, in the Eastern Conference, things are absolutely insane, with the 1st seed Chicago Bulls and the 6th seed Philadelphia 76ers only being 2.5 games apart, a third of the way through the season. And at this point, I really have no clue whatsoever what the final playoff seedings are going to be. I can give you a pretty good, educated guess for the Western Conference, but when I look at the East, man, I have no idea where these teams are going to end up. And let me tell you why. Let's start with the Chicago Bulls, shall we? They've been the 1 seed most of the season. They've played such good basketball that many people now believe this team to be a legitimate title contender. But I have said since the very beginning that this team has an issue on the defensive end. They cannot defend big players. As good as Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso have been, and they have been very good, what are they going to do against a Giannis, a Kevin Durant, or a Joel Embiid when they meet in the playoffs? And this problem is not one that only affects this team in the postseason, as we are starting to see in recent weeks the Chicago Bulls defense completely plummeting to the bottom of the league, and it has seriously affected their wins. The once strong gap they had between themselves and the 2nd seed has dwindled to the point that they are only half a game out of the 2 seed from the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets, and it is mostly because of their defense. Now, on top of that issue, Zach LaVine has just gone out with an injury, and losing someone of that caliber is a big deal no matter how good your team is. And the Chicago Bulls are not exactly a team overflowing with depth. They have a very good starting lineup, yes, but when you look at their bench, they are not prepared to lose an all-star caliber player like Zach LaVine. As good as DeMar DeRozan has been, I could absolutely see a world where the Chicago Bulls plummet down to the 6th seed by the time Zach LaVine returns, depending on how long he's out, if the Bulls struggle without him. Now, maybe DeMar DeRozan plays like an MVP, he steps up his game anymore, Alex Caruso is coming back, maybe their defense gets a little bit better and they hold on to that 1st seed, but maybe they don't. And because of these reasons, I have no idea. I don't know if the Bulls are going to plummet or they're going to stay where they are. I don't know. The Miami Heat are in a situation similar to the Bulls when it comes to injuries. They have had injury woes all season long. Jimmy Butler has missed time. Ever since he got to the Heat, he's been there off and on. Bam Adebayo, same situation. And while Bam is about to come back, I don't know if this team can stay healthy for 30 seconds. So if they do get healthy, if Bam comes back the dude we thought he was, maybe they steal the 1st seed, or maybe they don't. Maybe Jimmy Butler gets hurt again and they plummet down in the standings. Who freaking knows? The 3rd-seeded Brooklyn Nets just lost MVP frontrunner Kevin Durant to an injury that is expected to keep him out for 4 to 6 weeks, and depending on how this team plays without their MVP, will decide whether or not they manage to maintain their spot in the standings or they plummet in a freefall without the arguable best player in the league. James Harden has been woefully inconsistent this season. Kyrie Irving is currently still allowed to only play in Nets road games and not at home, and the bench has been subpar for this team since the beginning. Kevin Durant has absolutely carried this team to the 3rd seed so far, and without him, I do not think it is unreasonable whatsoever to think that this seed drops off not only out of the top 5, but potentially down into the play-in race. That is how bad they have looked without Kevin Durant on the floor at times, and I don't think it's impossible for the Nets to legitimately fall out of a winning seed and not be able to climb back into it when Kevin Durant returns before the season ends. But maybe they do. Maybe James Harden finally gets his shit together. Maybe the Nets agree to play Kyrie Irving's fines so that he can play at home. I don't know what's going to happen with this team, but in my opinion, they have the highest ceiling and also the lowest floor out of any of these 6 teams. They could go on a tear with their offense being so good with Harden and Kyrie, and they could get the first seed, or they could suck booty, and they could fall all the way out of the top 6 in the East. Next up is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think this has pretty clearly been the most surprising team in the league this season. The only competition they have is the Ja Morant-led Grizzlies in the West, but in the East, it's not even close. I don't think a single person foresaw the Cavs making the playoffs this season, much less being the 4th seed. They have exceeded all expectations. You're welcome for calling Evan Mobley a bust, because that is absolutely the reason he is playing so well. I jinxed him into being great. You're welcome, Cavs fans. Their defense has been phenomenal this year. Darius Garland is looking like an all-star right now. They've been great. But I gotta be honest, I'm not sure if I trust this team to keep it up all season. Their 3 big lineup has worked so far, but there is a reason that most teams these days do not play 3 guys who are 6'10 or taller all at the same time. It generally doesn't work in the NBA, and I could absolutely see a world where the Cavs start getting game planned around by other teams and taken advantage of because of their abundant size. But maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe they hold fast. Maybe they even start winning more games. Darius Garland has gotten better as the season has gone on. Maybe they just continue to rise and make it improbably all the way to the 1st seed. Maybe they stay pat. Maybe they fall. I really don't know. And I'm very curious to see what happens with the Cavs this season, because I do not know if they are going to stay where they are, keep being this good, or if reality is going to hit them in the face and they're going to fall down in the standings. The Milwaukee Bucks at the 5th seed have been the definition of inconsistent this season. They just finished a week where they beat 2 title contending teams in the West, and then immediately turned around and lost to the Raptors and the Hornets. 2 teams that aren't bad per se, but certainly aren't teams you expect to lose to immediately after blowing out the Golden State Warriors by 39 points. So what the hell is going on with Milwaukee? I don't really know. They've missed their star point guard Drew Holiday for the majority of this season, and when you're missing your 3rd best player, also your point guard, also your best perimeter defender and playmaker, all at the same time, that is going to have some serious implications on your team. But all the while, they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is in many people's eyes the MVP frontrunner and the best player in the league. They have Chris Middleton, who is supposed to be an all-star, and they have a relatively deep and well-balanced team with a fantastic regular season coach. So I have no clue what is going on with the Milwaukee Bucks. They could get hot, they could get their shit together, and they could grab the 1 seed, or they could keep playing incredibly inconsistent basketball and not manage to take advantage of the phenomenal amount of chaos going on above them in the standings. I don't know what's going to happen with this team, because some nights they look like a title contender, and other nights they look like a 1st round exit in the upcoming playoffs. Finally, we get to my team, the Philadelphia 76ers, and I don't know if there's anything new to say about these guys. You all know the deal with the Sixers. They have a Ben Simmons-sized hole in the lineup because his max contracted ass is sitting on the sidelines and sucking his thumb, crying about how the media was mean to him. He does not intend to play this season, and Daryl Morey does not intend to trade him for a bad deal, which, as time goes on, I seem to think the deal should be getting easier and easier, and Daryl Morey doesn't. I'm trying my best to have faith, but my goodness, some of these deals that he is apparently turning down, according to media rumors, are just, like, so very good, and I don't know why we still have Ben on the roster. I would love to get rid of him, but nevertheless, Ben is officially listed, despite not playing. Tobias Harris is some nights looking like almost worth his contract, most nights looking like a scrub. Tyrese Maxey has really good games, but can be up and down. He's only in his 2nd year, so I'm willing to give him some slack for that. Matisse Thybulle looks like an all-defense candidate once again, but his offense is so-so. Seth Curry is the opposite. He's a 3-point sniper. He's been fantastic for this team, but his defense is a problem. The bench is incredibly inconsistent, and that's to put it nicely. For the most part, they're just kind of bad. And Joel Embiid, despite playing like an MVP candidate once again, despite being on currently a insane streak of 11 straight road games with at least 30 points, is just not enough to carry this team on his own. He needs to get some consistent help. God, I hope we trade Ben Simmons soon. So until that happens, the Sixers are just kind of holding on for dear life to the 6th seed. With everything going on ahead of them, if the role players, and especially Tobias Harris, finally start to play as well as they can on some nights, maybe the Sixers can seize a top seed in the conference, but if not, they're not going anywhere. They're going to sit right there at the 6th seed and wait to lose in the first round of the playoffs, or wait to finally trade Ben freaking Simmons. So that is the situation in the Eastern Conference right now. I don't know what the standings are going to look like when the year ends, but I can tell you this, it is going to be pretty darn entertaining to see where these 6 teams end up. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments where you think the playoff seedings are going to land in the Eastern Conference, who's going to steal the 1 seed, which of these teams might fall all the way out of the top 6 and into the play-in tournament. Let me know in the comments, and thank you all for watching.